So much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. You highlighted a lot of very important and thought-provoking issues. I know some of the things you talked about, are the burning issues, on the minds of, everyone here today. But just to pick on a few critical things, you really had...
My people, Tinubu, Atiku and P2B don jam for debate finally. This video na be the biggest video for social media. Now when I watch this video, hey God, when I watch this video, this men dem dem dey serious. They don't, these three people don't come play. When I watch the video reach the end, see this video na 3 parts. 3 of them don dey my page now. Watch this video reach the end. Help me share and make sure say you share and make sure say you watch out to the end. You go hear things.
Lots of very important and thought-provoking issues. I know some of the things you talked about, are the burning issues, on the minds of, everyone here today. But just to pick on a few critical things, you really had security as something that is your top priority to ensure that we have an enabling environment in Nigeria for living and doing business. You talked about removal of the PMS subsidy, and then you also talked about the critical need for power sector reforms. So I'm just trying to, just as we open up this discussion, I want to find out in the first 100 to 200 days in office, what should citizens expect to see if you're elected as president, sir?
Day one, hit the ground running. Day two, continue running. Day three, don't rest. Think and do. Select the best teams that will help build a better Nigeria. Teamship is crucially important. And giving the people opportunity to exercise their talents in turning the shape of the nation and retooling the mindset. Do we believe in ourselves? Or do we continue to make mouse migration? Definitely, the security challenge must be eliminated. With technology, human beings attract more people into the army, given, voluntary army and the equipment necessary, all the tools to fight insecurity must be employed to have a nation that is confident, bold,
Wonderful.
and peaceful, seeking prosperity for these people. And that's what we do.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. Now, we like we have, has been highlighted, through the presentations today, the country has experienced, economic growth. Unfortunately, a lot of the growth that we have seen has not translated to improved living conditions for the average citizen. And, some of those things, get us to think around how this has contributed possibly to the rising unemployment levels. Youth unemployment is at unprecedented levels. Even people who are currently employed, some of them are actually underemployed, and we see all those things. What sort of strategies, especially with a focus on the youth, would you employ to tackle issues related to unemployment in the country right now?
Private sector driven opportunity, tackle the power problem head on. People can work by themselves. A common school driver can create a path to fortune if electricity is taken care of and other infrastructural areas. carrying them along. And the change of mindset, I say, I will repeat that over and over again. Patriotic commitment, the conversion of negativity to a positive drive, and partnership with the private sector to create a job, to put an incentive there. If you hire 500 new employees, why can't I, as a government, give you some tax incentive to offset that payroll and the pension contribution that may be associated with it? I don't want to sit here and reveal all my strategy. I'm the first speaker among the three of us running. So they will spy on me. So you will have a limited answer here today. Another day you can bring me back. But that's part of what I do.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Just going back a bit to the question, because we're looking at youth, we're looking at large numbers. What are your ideas around scaling, employment opportunities for this large population of young people who are currently unemployed?
First of all, commodity exchange. Make farming more attractive. The youth that can operate AK-47 can operate better a good tractor to clear the bush and plant the seeds. Retrain them. I will stop here.
Thank you, sir.
I don't want to give you a comprehensive plan that I have because others are coming.
Thank you, sir. So the 2023 budget proposal suggests that borrowing would be the primary means of funding expenditure, the government budgets. And that brings, some challenges that we also need to discuss, because currently projections, exceed revenue expectations. What other revenue sources can you identify, Your Excellency? What sort of funding models can we expect, from your government if elected to office borrowing? What sort of other funding mechanisms can we expect to use to fund our government budgets? I did it
well, and I did it well. I'm proud. In Lagos, 600 million naira a month internally generated revenue. Today, 50 billion naira every month. I'm making it the 5th largest economy. Let's take one. I won't go to the rest. But right back to the revenue, your savings from oil subsidy. You have an increased revenue. You have a gap there, right? Right back. The opaque exchange rate. Into the revenue. You are not borrowing. Make your oil competitive. Attract foreign investment. If you attract foreign investment with incentives, you have expanded base of money coming in. All you have is a deferred tax period. A creative mind is a fertile land for growth.
Talking about, now that you've brought up, this oil revenue, foreign direct investments, can we discuss a bit more about how you intend to drive direct foreign investments into Nigeria? This is critical to economic growth, and we're at a period when, this has faded, and this is part of the reasons why we have some of these challenges.
Yeah, a beautiful lady. And the problem is talking about age to women. So, I don't know how old you are when we started PIA. Look at how many years it took us to conclude on it. No, you don't accept that. That is not growing a nation. Look at the bottleneck on the PIA itself. The one that we have right now, untie the bottleneck. Make accelerated action. You have proposals you submit today, you must have a timeline for the approval of that project. If I know as an investor that I'm giving you this proposal and expected a return within the next 3-4 weeks, and I get it, it's calendarized, I will bring my money. The more money you have, the more comfortable you become. And you can promote those ideas. There is bureaucratic bottleneck in the establishment. I'm not given to it. I've never worked for government before. I guide the government. I was the governor of Lagos State. That's my first public life government. Deloitte and training, good university education, Deloitte training, ExxonMobil, Auditor General, ExxonMobil, Treasurer. At the time that we are craving and dying of foreign exchange, I don't know what is my luck that I come time again, foreign exchange problem. But we survived. I remit all our dividends. We completed that building without 2% variation. Look at Faloma LSDPC building. It wasn't complete. About 10 years later, and we started at the same time. Efficiency, transparency. I didn't receive from Julius Baja.
Please help me to share this video. Share this video, please.
A notepad to say thank you. I didn't make any demand. I was not trading with treasury fund as a treasurer. Tunde Fashola was my lawyer then. He said, oh, what are you covering here? Okay. But I'm not one of those treasurers that got into trouble. You know how many of them go and research. Clean, transparent, and honest processing of transactions. Jimovia was under one building. But he was one of the most effective letter of credit processors. You submit today, he give you back, you approved on Thursday. maximum 4 days. People can be envious of his growth today, but he earned it. If we have many private sector group doing that, I say mindset is critical to human and economic development for the whole world. Tell me, what is the greatest human discovery in the last 1,000 years, if not electricity? Tell me. Tell me, what are we producing and selling to other countries? Not even slippers. We eat the skin of our cows instead of turning them to beautiful bags and shoes. Eliminate that. It's a sign of poverty. It cannot be perpetual. We work hard together, collaborate with private sector. You are all here. When we saw that in the years past, underground train will be so disruptive. Look at him. He's about to commission a blue line. We say monorail. You find a way where there seems to be no way, you will succeed.
Thank you, Excellency. So continuing as a follow-up to this conversation, we're currently facing, a fiscal pressure, and Nigeria is on the brink of a debt crisis. I know you've highlighted very critical points around, foreign direct investments, domestic production, partnership, and with the private sector. But I just want to find out what your thoughts are around currently fiscal and monetary policy climate within the country, given the fact that we have right now an expansionary fiscal policy, tight monetary policy, which, currently they're quite divergent and we're not able to really make progress. So just to find out what your thoughts around this regarding fiscal and monetary policy.
Let's go back to geometry. Basic geometry that we learned when we were all in secondary school. A parallel line, two lines that don't meet. What are you doing? You are doing a convulsion by tying Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning with the Ministry of Finance. Separate the two.
Wonderful.
I call my
Please help me to share this.
Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Yemi Kadoso, I call him the headmaster. We all gave him the name headmaster because you cannot spend the money that is not budgeted for. And the budget progress and the process must give the result for which it was addressed. It's simple. Today, we don't have a clear line between monetary and fiscal policy. A blind man lost his dog. He's in trouble. I won't say more than that.
Thank you, sir. I'll stop briefly and take questions. Then we'll come back to complete the interactive session. So if you have any questions, please put up your hand and take them. Go first. Yes, so she goes first.
So good afternoon, everyone. Standing on protocol. My name is Owen Omogiafo. I am the President Group CEO of Transcorp. It's a delight to be here today, and thank you, Dr. Jai, for the invitation. I am particularly pleased that you focused a lot on power, and you've talked about security, talked about oil and gas. So Transcorp, we have considerable investment in power, because in line with our purpose of improving lives and transforming the society, we recognize that power is what's going to actually catalyze the growth that we all seek across all the sectors, including what you said. In the past year, I've been Group CEO for about 3 years now. The past 6 months, thank you very much, sir. It was quite interesting because as we saw the challenges with the oil and gas sector, we've also been impacted. And to put this in context, Nigeria's power today comes mainly from the thermal and hydro. The thermal is actually 89%. So as we are having the issues with gas, coming from the challenges around the sector, from the oil theft, the vandalization, it's affected the business and affected that sector. It'd be nice to just get some more information. Yes, we don't want to give out your secrets, but for me, as someone who represents investors, because that's what Transcorp is about, we do further investment, it'd be good to get to know more about what we're going to do specifically in this space. Furthermore, of course, as a female, and a female in leadership, I would also like to know some more about what we're going to do for more policies that would encourage, create an enabling environment for more female participation in key places. I'm not about token appointments. It's more around, I have the credibility, I have the credentials. And when I say I don't mean Owen, I mean the general female population, whereby we can have certain policies that will enable more women to play in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The question of our oil sector, you will have identified the problem. Today, there's artificial intelligence, there's technology that can censor those areas of interventions, illegal interventions. Metering is another thing. Reform that is so critical. To me, having been in that industry before, I was the last person on the also condensate project. I separated it from OPEC countries. And Mobu made profit. Why are we commingling? And what is the problem? That we are not today at a great advantage to compete with Russia on gas. Because we have not invested. We didn't put investment on long-term incentive to compete in Europe. Our gas is in the ground. It cannot turn to money until we push out there. What is the problem? Tax variations. The investors want lower taxes. I don't blame them. But I will grant you the lower taxes and take my deferred profit in the future. The deferred profit can be discounted. I'm turned to money today. As long as there's guarantee of no disruption and effective commitment to the sanctity of contract. Simple. I won't say more than that. I have a secret in my pocket.
women, women.
These are up. Okay, up. Those are my advisors. So I'm living the life, and the young one, the Shehu is okay. Shehu is there. It's only yesterday you were not prepared to make this trip, and I said you must meet me in Lagos. Create the pathway. Please have your seat. Create the pathway. Encourage them. Put the incentive there. The recognition. Yes, our mothers and sisters of those days, they would like to stay home to take care of babies and everything. That's their problem then. Yes. I'm a man in the house. My wife went to the Senate. I was able to manage my life for consecutive 12 years. I carry briefcases for her sometimes. This is no fake. It is happening. Until I was elected to become a presidential candidate, she was still in the Senate. It is only to comply with the INEC regulation now that we are, playing through. So, you want to know? I'm raised by a single mother. So, all of you females, you can be guaranteed of a better future and good recognition. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, and good afternoon. I want to thank the NSG for this. I'm very glad to be here. My name is Otumba Francis Meshioye. I'm the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. I want to thank you very much, Your Excellency, because you appreciate that the private sector has been very resilient. And I want to thank you too that you promised to carry the private sector along if you are elected. Again, I will make an observation from what you have said. It should be unfair to reveal all your economic plans. On this note, we have written a letter to economic management team to have a private engagement.
Please help me to share.
You acknowledge that real sector is very critical to the growth of the economy. We want to talk of the employment of laborers and so many other things they do that really push the growth of the economy. And it was explained during the presentation of NSG Director of Research that we are on minus level in our contribution. Minus 5.7 if I got him very right. This is very pitiful. And to continue to work in that kind of environment, sweating without reward is really very bad. And I know that it is not the intention of any government to do that. It is necessary to have a real interactive period to let the government understand this, and get a response. Why we are cheering for the knowledge, from the knowledge the government wants to offer? Because we suffer the pain. You can explain that this give for this pleasure, this give the pain. Number two, deriving from this is the fact that at many times policies really sign on, just like we signed off the one you just mentioned before the Russia problems or whatever it is. When this is signed on, the effect on the specific sector were not known at times. Why sign it generally? We should know that policies should be national specific, make the specificities of the nation. It is on this note that we want to play with you once again, using this forum, to find time to encourage your economic management team to give us the time. The time frame we gave have lapsed. So we can have another one. We'll be able to spell out. And I'm sure you'll be able to analyze properly at that kind of a forum. Thank you very much.
A good advice.
Yeah.
Noted. I don't have to waste your time going over what is very, very obvious contribution. I take it.
So we can have a lot more people speak. Thank you.
I would stand on existing protocol. My name is Frank Aibogun. I'm a director of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. You alluded to the global economic crisis, and I agree that to a large extent, it serves to impact local economies around the world. But when I look around today, the greatest problems that we face, you could say, are self-inflicted, very disentangled from what is happening around the world. In a crisis, some people suffer and some benefit. In this crisis, it's for Nigeria to benefit, but we are suffering, without any question. And I like the point you have made about being part of also Condescent and the role you played in Mobile. And I wanted to just ask you, increasingly I hear that people in government see IOCs and others in the business as privileged people. In fact, a senior government official asked the IOCs, if you are complaining so much, why are you still in Nigeria? The truth of the matter is, it is only their body we see, their soul is gone. There is absolute, and I'm sure you know more than I do. What would you do in terms of attitude change? Would your priority be to re-attract private capital from the IOCs back to Nigeria? Because it has little to do with energy transition. Those companies that are leaving Nigeria today, every day we see them set up operational base, sometimes in Africa, and if for gas, mostly in Guyana. So I ask, what would your attitude be to attracting investment from IOCs? And I'm talking about energy, and that's all I'm going to talk about. The other question will be, Olokola LNG and Brass LNG, I was told recently by a diplomat that if we had prosecuted both projects, today Nigeria would be earning $500 million weekly from exporting gas. What would be your attitude to that? Again, to energy. Nigeria has proven reserve of gas, 200 TCF. Russia has 300 TCF. So if you like, we are 66% of Russia. Russia earns $800 to $1 billion selling gas every day to its enemies in Europe, not friends. So we should be selling on a daily basis $600 million from gas. That has nothing to do with global crisis. It is a proper Nigerian failure. What would you do to turn around Nigeria's energy prospects? Thank you, sir.
Compound question. Let me treat this in the best way possible. First of all, look at the stack of the model arrangement we had when there was oil and gas scarcity around the world. Isn't it? We were the king. Even our leaders boasted then that money is not a problem, it's only how to spend it. Now you are broke. So you own 60% of both the gas and the crude on the ground. 60% and you are not the operator. Why not take a critical look and evaluation of that? Could changes in ownership structure or shedding weight bring more revenue to you? These are questions. I don't want Mr. Selito to get my idea. You look at that. To catch the rabbit, you got to give a bait. What is taking them to Guyana? There's some incentive in it. Maybe favorable taxes. But instead of having to dig ground and build a city in Guyana, you already have the infrastructure to some extent here. So, negotiate. Give up some of the pork belly areas that Nigeria wants. I'd rather have 40% and you keep 60%. If on the long run, it will give me the necessary incentive and the revenue that I need for an accelerated growth and recovery. You find a way to change the formula. There are certain things I know I can't say now. I am the first speaker. But just take it. If you want an omelette, you got to break the egg.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Sorry, I can only take one last question, please. If you can just make it like 20 seconds, because we have to round up. Yeah. Yes.
Mine is not a compound question. It's a very simple one, sir. My name is Philip Shelbila, and I'm a director of NESG. How would you deal with corruption? All of the things that you've put forward would fail if that is not addressed. Thank you.
Please help me to share this video.
Brief comment, yes.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Wasim Hussaini, I'm the Managing Director of Nestle, Nigeria PLC. Looking at the statistics of the past 20 months, I found out that 54% of the people who exited our company exited to leave the country. Not because they retired, not because they were sent out, not because a competitor took them from me. What are the actions of the government to help reduce migration of talents? Thank you.
The one on corruption and
by attracting investment. You know, I know what they're going to do. I've experienced it. I was a security guard. I was a student. Not that they are going for a white-collar job or blue-collar job and they are working in a comfort zone. I was a doorman. I was a security guard. Because I was going to school at the same time. Not all their paths are roses. I will discourage migration. I will offer you training and retraining. Give incentive, like I said earlier on, to corporate body that might hire 500 or 50 more people, and you can take it in a defer taxes. I can give you tax free on that, just for them to be here. At least they will consume. And if I recruit more into the police, into the army, and others, they might call me an egusi soup economist, where they are own warehouse economy. The food those I recruit will eat here is grown in Nigeria. It expands the economy of this country. Some of them don't know what is conflicts before they leave the shore of this country. So you change around the problem of migration only because the idle mind is a devil's workshop. They don't have no choice. On the corruption, you can not eliminate corruption completely and reduce it to zero. You find other means. I made corruption life. Yeah. But if you put incentive in place, I'm very proud of the judges of Lagos State, including magistrates. They were on foot when we got here. No vehicles, no accommodation, no incentive, no hope of retirement. How would they not be offered lift by the criminals? Yeah, you look at that. I changed the dynamics. I changed the system. It worked fine. It is tough now for a judge in Lagos State to be promoted to Court of Appeal because thinking that they will lose that incentive that I put in place for them. Change it round. Now, some are criminally minded. Yes. But lack of consumer credit is part of why we are corrupt. If you say you must pay 5 million for a car at a go, 5 million cash. It's 12 million.
Yes, 12, 15 million now.
In Kaduna?
Chinese Tokumbo.
Chinese Tokumbo?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, how do you solve that? Why not bring assembly plants? Look at the density, population of the cars on our road. We complain of go slow in Lagos, but we don't make a brake pad. Let's find a way to change things around. Transformational government of a serious-minded leadership. You are corrupt, you are gone. But I must put incentive in place for you not to be corrupt. If you can take a first or secondary mortgage, that will help you have a roof in your head and pay instrumentally. Unless you are greedy, you will eliminate corruption. The other transaction area, whistleblower, the system that we decriminalize some of them.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for those points. And as we round up, so as we round up now, I just don't know if you have just one final word for everyone here regarding, what your thoughts are around, improving security when you come into office. Just a final word to close.
Final word? Recruit more, decentralize more, community policing, pay them better, put incentive in place, guarantee their health, social welfare, health care scheme.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.